Welcome back to another episode of the Football Frauds podcast. We are wearing the same uniforms as last time. Completely coincidence. We're here a week later.
I haven't changed clothes in many years.
Why would
I'm
you?
actually not wearing the same clothes.
My name is Miles.
I am Connor.
Typically, you go second because it's kind of like an arc thing we got going on here.
No,
I'm also Matt.
It's dramatic effect.
Okay.
Put a pause in there.
And we're talking about the AFC West offseason team needs. We're going to go team by team. The Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, not in that order. We're going to talk about roster deficiencies, coaching, who they should go for in free agency or needs in free agency, and who they should look for in the draft. We're going to start off with the Las Vegas Raiders, the fourth-place finisher this year in the AFC West.
The Pete Carroll nuclear 73-year-old explosion Raiders.
Fired Chip Kelly midway through the season. They went 3-14, and they are going to take Fernando Mendoza first overall in the draft.
Honestly, a lesson in tanking.
Yep.
A perfect situation where you can have a coach where he doesn't look like you're tanking, but it goes terribly. You get out of the quarterback wilderness. I mean, come on. That was beautiful.
So I've been seeing some clickbait on them taking Fernando Mendoza, and they're talking about, do they trade and wait for next year's class?
That content.
But
That's never...
that aside, what is the trade value on that? There's one quarterback.
A lot.
There's one quarterback. Is it worth it?
No.
If it was the Jets at 2, I think it would take a future first and maybe another first.
Well, could you essentially just trade this year's draft class for the number one?
First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh?
No, because they have 2 and then 16 or whatever.
You're saying...
The
no,
Jets.
I think that'd be too much.
2 and 16 for one?
Oh, maybe. Actually, you're right.
There's one quarterback.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was thinking an extra first still.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, the Jets don't need him, but you go Crosby in 16 or something.
But also, we just talked about how you just need a quarterback that's good enough if you have the supporting cast. So
I know. Is good enough.
It's just hard. Like, I guess the Jets do have extra ammo.
yeah.
If you're the Raiders, it's like, what are you going to do with all these extra picks
Dude.
if you have no quarterback?
Exactly.
Also, you guys remember when I said that Dante Moore, his biggest factor about going back to college is if the Jets are at 2, and he thinks he's
Who
going to go
knows?
to one.
Who knows?
He'll get drafted by the Jets next year.
That would be
That'd be
so
awesome.
poetic.
So
Yeah.
the Las Vegas Raiders are second in cap space going into the offseason with $91 million to play with. Impending free agents Dylan Parham at guard, who was mid this season, Eric Stokes at corner, and Devin White, the run-stopping linebacker, in the middle. Matt, go through a little roster breakdown here for us.
Yeah.
What is the Las Vegas Raiders, what are they looking at here in free agency? What are they looking at in the draft?
Well, I think just in generically, I want to have a little bit of a deeper conversation on this offensive line.
Yeah.
Because we just talked about in our lessons learned episode how much a coordinator and an offensive line as a unit are important to the success of an offense. You're drafting Fernando Mendoza, and you're hoping that in year 1 or year 2, it's looking competent. It's looking like you found your guy. And I think this whole unit of these 5 offensive linemen is interesting because last year, I cannot remember the OC last year for the Raiders. But things were...
Chip Kelly?
No, sorry, 2024 I was saying.
Oh, shit, I don't know.
Things were starting to look up for that offensive line. They had a couple guys in year 1 or year 2 that were starting to get put together better. It looked like Colton Miller, he's a longtime veteran who's put up some great seasons. And then Dylan Parham, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Jordan Meredith, and DJ Glaze. That was 1 to 5, left tackle or right tackle. And especially towards the back half of the season, they were starting to look like, oh, they're not a bottom 5 offensive line. Maybe they are average. Maybe they have even more of a ceiling because they're young. And that was sort of the talk until Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll's son, the offensive line coach, come in. And then in 2025, they all fall apart. But those guys are all still there.
Yeah.
And they're all still under contract. Except for Dylan Parham and Jordan Meredith. But the thing is, they have so much cap space that they can bring whomever they want. My point is, I wouldn't blow up that offensive line, even though it looked so bad this year.
Yeah.
Colton Miller, their best player, he was out for the season. And I think everyone else has a ceiling that can be tapped into.
Yeah.
We had the same situation with the Seahawks last year, where it was they're terrible.
Yeah.
All that, everything failed. Geno Smith had no one behind him. Then Clint Kubiak came into the Seahawks, and all of a sudden their offensive line looks competent. That's what I kind of envision for the Raiders. It's kind of why I'm sneaky optimistic that they could maybe get to six or seven wins from 3 if this offensive line could play a little better. So for my hope is you can either bring Jordan Meredith at center and Dylan Parham at guard back. Oh, here I have this. Dylan Parham had a 63 PFF in 2025, a 73 in 2024. 10-point difference. That's a pretty big gap. Jordan Meredith was 58 in 2025, 81 in 2024. So these guys had big fall-offs. I would say that's going to be Pete Carroll's son, and I would invest back in those guys. So I just want to start off, offensive line doesn't need to be as bleak as it maybe looked.
Yeah. I also think blowing up your offensive line while you're going to have a first overall rookie quarterback, not the right move.
But I think some fans see poor play and they say, blow it up. These guys are terrible. We need all new guys. And kind of like what we're saying, the lessons learned. Yeah. Maybe it's not exactly the guys. It's the scheme. It's the situation.
You know, I would say that there are pieces that I would move off from this team. But when you're having that first overall investment, offensive line is not the one to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we saw like the Packers paid a lot of money for Aaron Banks in free agency. Like you can pay a lot for free agent offensive linemen. You're probably going to overpay and you might not get.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
Because of the way free agency works.
Yeah.
Let's pivot into running back. They have Ashton Genty behind him. Not much. With all that cap space and draft capital, I could see them bringing some level of backup in for running back.
Well, it's a big free agent class too. So,
what's his Zaire White? I feel like he's been there for a while. He was the backup of Josh Jacobs. Didn't turn out into anything.
Wide receiver, they drafted Tyquan Thornton and Jack Besh in the second round last year. I was high.
Dante Thornton.
Yep. At wide receiver, and Jack Besh. I was high on Jack Besh going into this year. I thought he had great film in college. Ben Solak really liked him. Kind of a bigger, what he did, 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he's
profiles
big.
as a slot guy.
Was he a Tennessee deep threat?
No, that was Deontay Thornton Jr. was the Tennessee guy. His route tree was just solely vertical.
There's multiple Thorntons?
Tyquan Thornton is on.
I just got him mixed up.
Kansas City.
It's like 3 of them.
Deontay Thornton was the Tennessee guy.
Yep.
Besh was TCU.
Yep.
Okay.
On that really
Tyquan
good TCU
Thornton
team.
is on the Chiefs. I remember that now.
I'm a believer in Besh. Carroll didn't give him a chance to play. Film watchers like Solak thought he was good this year.
Yeah.
I feel like a wide receiver, obviously they have a need, but seems like they have solid young talent to build around, at least to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think between Trey Tucker and Jack Besh, that's 2 guys that are a little smaller route winners that you'd hope to trust. With all that money, I could see them trying to make a splash for one of the bigger players that can play more on the line X receiver. They don't need to hit it there, but with the money they have, I could see it.
There's options. I think going into the season with their wide receiver room, you wouldn't be happy if that was like, you wouldn't be like, there'd be no expectation.
Yeah.
If you went in with that wide receiver room, you'd be like, okay, no one in this front office wants to win this year.
Because you want kind of Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker, and Jack Besh to all play some sort of slot role. Well, who's going to get out on the boundary?
Exactly.
They're set at tight end. That's no question. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, who's been pretty good as a blocking tight end, dual threat guy. Obviously, Bowers is elite. They're not going tight end. Offensive line, Matt just went in on that a little bit. It definitely makes sense to take a chance on an interior guy here or a tackle.
Yeah.
Going back to wide receiver, it is a very deep wide receiver class. We'll get into that on future teams. But it seems like they should kind of run it back at O-line, take a few chances in the later rounds. Obviously, they aren't going to have a first-round pick they can use an O-line. But just the way offensive line play is variable from year to year, since they have a decent chance to at least be the 23rd best offensive line next year.
I think so. If Clint Kubiak, I don't know who he can bring in as his O-line coach, but if he can do a similar thing, they're going to be not terrible.
I agree.
Edge. Max Crosby sitting there on a terrible roster, left the team early with an injury, posted a video a few days later of him playing basketball, made it very clear that he was ready, and they just sat him. There's been talks from Rappaport and Schefter and Jay Glazer, who's specifically close to Max Crosby. Apparently Jay Glazer and Max Crosby are boys, which is weird, saying that there's imminent talks right now between Crosby and their GM, Brady's guy. What's his name?
from the Buccaneers.
Michigan dude.
It's not Jason Light. He's the Buccaneers guy.
I'll look it up.
It's got an S.
Their GM, it seems like there are imminent talks right now about trading Crosby.
Spy Tech. I didn't have to look it up.
Nicely done. It seems like there are imminent talks right now about trading Crosby. If I was in this scenario, it seems like a really obvious, our win now window is not within Crosby's window. Crosby's approaching his 30s, if not in his 30s.
Crosby's 28, and the rest of his contract, he's going to go into his 30s. So he's at peak value right now.
And he's on a good value deal. He got paid before all these edge rushers broke the market, when Garrett got 40 and Parsons got 40 plus.
Yeah.
He's on a good value deal. You could definitely gain value in trading him. I would think he fetches at least 2 firsts. Parsons isn't a good example
I would
because
agree.
Jones traded him below market value.
And it was the wrong time of the year for a trade.
Yep. So to me, trading Crosby makes sense. Easier said than done in terms of finding a suitor, and generally NFL teams don't like to do things like that.
I do want to say, when I thought that the Browns should have traded Myles Garrett because of their cap space, so this would have been before the last season. They were terrible this past season because they had so much money and so many old guys, and now it's like they're 2 years away from competing. That was 2
years away from being 2 years away.
So it's like that would be 3 years since they had a chance to trade him. But this situation, like the Raiders, there's a world where there's something a little more Patriots-y to this team, to where because they don't have a ton of money and old guys, that things could get linked together quicker.
Last pay schedule.
I wouldn't mind if they kept him because I don't think they're stuck. To me, the Browns were stuck. They were stuck in mud. Like the Raiders are behind. Like if there's a race metaphor, they're last in the race, but they have traction.
So if there's a race metaphor.
Oh yeah, let's bring some race into this discussion. No, yeah, I like on a track with cars. They're last, but I think they have traction.
Yeah,
Connor.
So I believe it was this morning Kubiak came out and said openly that he wants Max Crosby to stay on the team. That could just be semantics.
Yeah,
everyone says that because
we love Max.
If Kubiak said
player.
We don't want him on the team, his trade value goes down.
It's just something you say to keep your trade value up.
And if he stays on the team and you say you didn't want him there,
of course we wanted him.
Not a bad, not a good look for you.
Yeah, always save face to the public.
Yeah.
Christian Wilkins left after apparently kissing some guy in the locker room or doing some stuff that was football guys didn't like. It sounded like it was homosexual to some extent. I don't know what that's about. They gave him a huge ass contract. He was considered a top 10 defensive interior guy.
I wonder if he comes back to the NFL at any point.
Crazy because he's really not that old. Seems like the defensive interior besides that though, Matt, is pretty weak.
Yeah. Also to comment on edge, after Crosby, they have a guy, Snowden. I forget his first name.
Eric?
He had a decent year. Is it Eric Snowden?
Is that the guy from the
that's the guy
the Russia emails thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
No, Edward
Snowden. Edward Snowden. Not really an athlete.
He's got a great mind for the game.
More cerebral, you know.
He's sneaky.
Yeah, he likes to watch film. But I say anywhere in the D line they could add besides Crosby, the rest of their edges weren't that great, and their interior was completely atrocious. Not a single player above average that you can think of as you're going to count on going forward.
Mm-hmm. That is what I had for the Raiders.
Matt, you want to touch on line? It seems like linebacker, corner, safety, they're probably the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah. The fun thing about this, and I'm not an expert about how all these things work, they were the 32nd rated PFF defense. In terms of PFF watches every individual player, says they're all terrible, and then averages it.
Yeah.
But on EPA per play, they were 17th.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of factors there. I think part of it is Patrick Graham. I think a lot of it is limiting explosives. They fail slowly.
Yeah.
So every individual play, they're not getting screwed over, but on each drive, they're going to get scored on.
Part of it's probably their offense sucking and just getting terrible field position over and over again.
That makes sense too. No one needs to hunt for explosives because they know they can play safe. But yeah, linebacker, they had a couple guys that were right around average that are free agents. You probably want to keep them because you need someone to play linebacker, but no stars. Cornerback, they had Eric Stokes from the Packers.
20th in PFF this year.
He had a good year, so he's a free agent. You might as well keep him.
I think that Eric Stokes exceeded expectations, but to say that I keep seeing Eric Stokes had a fantastic year, and it's if Eric Stokes is average, every other corner on that team sucks. Why would you throw it to the average guy?
That's probably fair.
Darian Porter,
Yeah.
6'3", height, length, speed guy, considered good in the draft, Iowa State. Other than that, and their back seven, Jeremy Chin, who they signed last year from the Panthers, not a lot of back seven talent in general.
Yeah.
And then I forget who their main safety is. It's a guy who's fine, not of worth, but they need at least one more safety too.
Yeah.
Well, and with all these teams, we have a lot of openings. You can't fill them all. Some of them are just going to be somewhat bad, but we're just going to talk about these are spots you'd like to hit with poor play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tyree Wilson, top 10 pick, massive
Oof.
bust, who has not worked out for them at all.
Nope.
Let's move on.
He was an example of, I got really long arms. I have really good testing.
Yeah.
Of course, I have huge NFL upside. And it's like, well, then why weren't you good at football in college?
Yep. Kansas City Chiefs. They are $54 million in the negative going into the cap space next year, 32nd in the NFL, way above the salary cap. They have geriatric Travis Kelce, seeing his comeback for next year. Hollywood Brown, likely on his way out, struggled to stay healthy as with the rest of his career. Charles Omenihu on the offensive line, they can re-sign. Brian Cook and Leo Chenal. It seems like all those guys, save Kelce, are going to be on their way out given their cap situation.
Yeah. A couple points I just saw my first run through is that they have Jawan Taylor there, who had a 53 PFF rating this year. He was their big tackle signing like 4 years ago. He's been bad for a while. They finally can cut his contract and save $20 million. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then they also have this defensive end named Mike Dana that if they cut, they save $9 million. He's never done too much in his career, and he had a bad season this past year. I think they'll do that too.
Simmons at tackle in the first round. He's got off-the-field stuff, mental health-wise. Had a lot of physical injuries in college. Seems like his film was great this year when he was healthy. Seems like a steal at the back end of the first round, provided that he can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
At quarterback, I don't know, guys. Do you think Patrick Mahomes still has it?
The trade value. It's insane.
Obviously, Mahomes is their guy. He's a Chief for
Yeah.
life. They're going to keep extending him. Mahomes has taken a pretty reasonable cap hit year after year after year. They gave him that massive 10-year,
Yeah.
$500
Yeah.
million
He's still at
extension.
45 AAV, and Dak is at 60. So
Yeah,
that's a
he's
pretty
a-
big difference.
Yep.
Deal every year that he's there. At running back, massive need.
Yeah.
So their GM has a track record of kind of drafting for positional value in the top rounds. Obviously, the constant projection of them at the first round is Jeremiah Love. That would be sick. Everyone in fantasy would just lose their minds. It would be the talk of the offseason.
He'd be like a top 12 asset right away.
Yeah, I mean, he would be the best
Yeah.
first overall pick. And
Feels like it.
yeah,
Like Bijan was on the Falcons. Who knew? You didn't know. That was Arthur Smith Falcons at the
Yeah.
time. You didn't know.
their offensive line is pretty solid overall.
Yeah.
They have talent everywhere in the interior. Trey Smith. They got rid of Tooney. Simmons on the outside. Decent. They seem to pass block pretty well.
They have the best center in the league. I can't think of his name right
Creed
now.
Humphrey.
Creed Humphrey.
Is considered to be an all-pro every single year.
Yep. One thing I want to say is Trey Smith got paid. He finally, they shipped off Joe Tooney and paid Trey Smith. Trey Smith dove back down, so he's the highest paid guard in the league, a 69 PFF score. Joe Tooney on the Bears, 79. So
Heck
I know
yeah.
they got younger.
Protector of the year.
They got younger with Trey Smith, but I mean, maybe you should have just stuck with your guy.
Protector of the year is voted on by a panel of like 10 guys. And I think that's really dumb because it feels like they took Joe Tooney being like career achievement award. Or we love this guy.
Yeah.
Like not actually
Yeah.
the
No, it is
best
lame.
like
Yeah.
pass blocker in the
I
NFL.
sometimes like career achievement. Like I'm glad Stafford got an MVP.
Yeah. In hindsight, it looks great with May in the playoffs, but
Oh yeah, but like it should have gone to Penei Sewell or another guy that's like a one tier above Joe Tooney.
Sewell, Wirfs, and Johnson were all hurt on and off throughout the year.
Yeah.
You can't give it to a guy who misses
Especially
games.
Wirfs and Lane Johnson. They,
Yeah.
like those
Yeah.
guys were out of it.
Yep. Wide receiver.
Hold
Rasheed
up,
Wright-
hold up. So, what if they don't get Jeremiah Love?
This running back class is devoid of talent.
Well,
beyond
the thing
Love.
is, do you see a world where they keep Pacheco?
If they keep Pacheco, he's going to cost like $3 million.
Exactly.
So they could, but does it affect their team really?
No.
The thing is, the free agent running back market is always has plenty of options of guys
Yeah.
who can be at least decent.
And so that's my argument for them keeping Jeremiah Love. Is
Or
that,
drafting him.
Drafting him?
No. Oh, my bad.
Keeping Pacheco?
Not drafting Jeremiah Love and going to free agency. It's not a terrible destination for a running back, if you ask me. It sounds like a pretty sick destination.
Top half of the league.
Someone would take a deal to go to.
Yes. No. I mean, it's a classic, like, I'll sign here for a year and then I'll get a raise next year because my stats will be great.
And that's why I just don't see a world where they do draft Jeremiah Love.
I agree. It's a great pipe dream to have, but it seems like they have so many other needs in the rest of their roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to spend a top 10 draft pick on a position that you can pay relatively not that much for in the grand scheme of things.
I actually want to zoom out real quick, and we can zoom back in a second. Looking over at this roster, it's really not that impressive anymore.
No.
They have used a lot of money and kind of like mortgaged some of the future with some contracts over the last few years. But like up and down, they got some good linebackers. They got Chris Jones. They got good DBs, Patrick Mahomes, and a couple offensive linemen. But like receivers, you don't love. The defensive line besides Chris Jones is really bad. And even the offensive line is not a strength anymore. I would say it's iffy. I just wrote down some contracts that are not looking too great. They can cut Jawan Taylor, but then Jalen Moore, they paid $15 million per year last year. He had a 63 PFF rating. Trey Smith, I already highlighted. He's only at 69 for his $23 million per year. And then they signed Christian Fulton, a corner, for $10 million per year. He only had a 62.
Yeah.
So if you're using your free agent money to try and win now, and you're getting guys that are average or slightly above average, that's going to put you in a hole. And that's why they're so over the cap right now with a lot of holes still.
Yeah.
Receiver lacking, I would say. Rice is obviously great. He profiles more as a gadget player. I laughed at this. Matt said last week, Mickey Mouse touches. He gets a lot of Mickey Mouse touches on crossers underneath. Not like a man coverage separator, like get open on third down, really. Kelsey's that for them right now, but Kelsey's timeline is quickly, passing us by.
Yeah.
Other than that, Xavier Worthy, who I have no belief in, just a 40-time merchant. Not really good down the field.
He's fine. He's not going to change your offense.
Yeah, once again, kind of a gadget guy.
Well, he might change it in a bad way. You have to cater your offense to whatever he can do, not an actual helpful receiver.
Takes away from run blocking.
Totally. That's another thing we were talking about in lessons learned. You can't, with these receivers, you can't show run and pass at the same time.
Yeah.
What is Xavier Worthy going to do on a run play?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that. Does anyone have any knowledge on Rashee Rice's off-the-field stuff? Is he coming back this year, or is he suspended, or what's going on with that?
No charges yet. There's been more accusations, no charges.
He served 6 games, right?
Yeah, so he's good from stuff in the past. He had more shit come off this offseason.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget.
And that's why I think they should be looking at a receiver at 9.
Their D-line is bad.
I still think that you can get
if
interior D-line depth later
If one
on.
of the guys falls,
Lemon, Tyson, or Tate.
I'd rather them, like, if they could get
Bain,
Bailey, or Reese, or they don't need linebacker. I haven't seen receiver mock to them too often because they've just have taken a lot of high receivers lately.
Yeah.
But I agree, they do need more there.
Yeah.
I also think taking a tackle there, Maui Noah is almost definitely going the top 5 per betting odds. He's like Fano just because of offensive tackle needs. These guys are like 16 on dudes' boards, but they're going to go in the top 8 because everyone has an offensive tackle need, and they're so hard to find. I think tackle would make a lot of sense for them in terms of their Achilles heel over the years when they get into big games is not having protection for Mahomes. But like Matt's saying, defensive interior edge seems like the priority here in terms of getting a high positional value guy who can be an actual game changer on defense.
Yeah. I also just want to say I agree with the market has him in like 8th in Super Bowl odds.
Yeah.
I agree. This team, like Patrick Mahomes is elite, but is this? I mean, I think maybe Andy Reid is not. I think Spags might still be. But the players just aren't quite there anymore.
Yeah. The offense has felt stale for 3 years now.
Yeah.
They made that Super Bowl run last year, but no one felt like their offense was electric and like they weren't putting up huge numbers. It was just Mahomes being a superhero in the playoffs over and over again.
Defense showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tight end, Kelsey, and who the hell else they got at tight end?
It was Noah Gray.
Noah Gray.
I think he's also a free agent.
Kelsey's on his last legs. He's got max 1 years left.
Well, he's a friggin' billionaire now.
I guess.
Like that is crazy.
There's a prenup there. I don't know.
Yeah, but while they're together, he still gets to use it. Was she gonna say no? He can't. buy a friggin'
Taylor,
yacht.
give me money. I want money.
Tay-Tay.
Money, please.
Money fee.
I bet there's more toxic conversations about that than you think. If Travis wants to start actually accessing things he can't afford on his own, I'm sure that would be a little dicey.
He has a podcast too. So
Fuck.
He's a football fraud.
he's a football fraud.
Travis,
Confirmed.
we're coming for your ass on the charts, you bitch.
Yeah.
New Heights is going down. Frauds are going up.
Easy.
Fuck you.
Easy money. I give it 1 week.
You heard me. I'm calling you out, Travis. I'm calling you out on live television.
Yeah, get scared.
All right.
I'd hope they could go D-line. If no one's
Yeah.
there, then they just
I
take
think that
whoever
they can get D-line in the second. I think that's where they can get
Here's
it.
an important discussion. Minshew's a free agent. Patrick Mahomes has a torn ACL. They need to figure out who's going to be playing week 1.
Yeah.
Mahomes said he'd be healthy for week 1. That's what you say.
But, like, if you're the Chiefs, what's the point of having him play? Like, you want him to be as healthy as possible for the playoffs.
Why couldn't you just take an L week 1? Why couldn't you just put in your 6th round draft?
Yeah, but you
pick?
have to have you have to have a plan.
I mean, throw a day 3 pick out there.
I think if you're the Chiefs and you're going to tell yourself we can win the Super Bowl, we have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's exactly what you wouldn't do. Is
All
put a
you have to
rookie
do
out
is
there.
all you
You
have to
would
do.
take a
It's
shitty
one
veteran.
game. It's 2 games.
I don't think the
Yeah, you still
NFL
have a
views
chance.
backup quarterbacks in the same way you do. Just put
No,
Randy. I met Randy
no.
at the parlor over there.
Put Chris Aluakon out there.
You know
See
what?
what happens.
Put
You know
Ran-
what?
oh, yeah.
Randy would lose those 2 games,
You're
and it
like-
would not look pretty.
Just put whoever. I found this guy in the gutter.
And then the Chiefs would go 15-2
Yeah.
and win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs at edge. Karlaftis, 22nd out of 119 last year. Considered a pretty solid player. I think definitely not cornerstone, but close to a cornerstone for them in the
Yeah,
edge.
They're paying him.
Other than that, like Matt said, Mike Dana likely on his way out. Not a lot at edge. I think they could really use an edge guy, given that's the most valuable position in terms of game breakers.
Yep.
If Bain falls to them or Bailey,
Oh,
I'm sure they'd be.
smash.
There's no
Yeah.
chance they take
Smash.
Love over those guys.
If you're the Chiefs, you're hoping Styles is going high. You're hoping Caleb Downs is going
Yeah.
high. Maybe one of the corners, a receiver. I think they want a defensive end to fall, I think.
I would totally agree. In terms of the way they think about the game, that makes sense.
All right, Chargers.
Do we want to go back 7 for the Chiefs?
We can touch on it quick.
They got a lot of talent there.
Chenal, Tranquil, Bolton, 19th, 14th, and 9th in linebacker grade. Really solid linebacker core. They let L'Jarius Sneed go to the Titans 2 years ago. They still have Brian Cook, who was 4th in PFF grade.
Yeah.
They let
He's a free agent. And I
Yes.
don't think they're going to have the money to bring him back unless they move stuff around.
Sneed left. They let another safety go to the Saints last year, who was
Justin
very good in
Reed.
the Saints. Justin Reed, very good in the Saints. Versatile. McDuffie, 12th in PFF grade, very solid. Watson, 17th in PFF grade. Even Noel Williams, don't even know who that is, 16th in PFF
Yeah,
grade.
he's his rookie or second year. I think
Rookie.
about the Chiefs secondary, Spags has shown over his last 10 years at least, but mostly his whole career, he can develop cornerbacks. So it's one of those things that you want to pay your guys, but you don't want to pay them all because you want to hope that you can keep developing them.
Yeah.
Chiefs are an example of the way the NFL is meant to work. When you're really good for a long time, you get poor draft picks, and you have to pay your good players, and you're meant to go back towards the middle.
Yeah.
Connor, get us going on the Chargers.
All right. So for the Chargers, I'll start you guys off with a quote from Tom Brady. So Tom Brady said, if they can protect Justin Herbert, he is the best passer in the league.
Smart man.
Madison Beer on Justin Herbert. I feel like taken care of in a way that I can break down and have someone to lean on.
Ooh.
I feel like it's time that the Los Angeles Chargers take care of Justin Herbert.
Damn.
Sitting there in the draft this year, it seems like their obvious target's going to be Olivai Vega Ioane, the elite guard from Penn State who's rising in the draft process. If not there, Emmanuel Pregnone's a riser. Not a lot of tackle talent's probably going to fall to them after Fano and Maui Noah. It seems like a really obvious guard pick here, if not a guy who can move out the tackle, given how injury-prone their tackles are.
So it's pretty clear on the Chargers that interior line is their biggest need.
No question.
They had a pass block win rate of 54.4%. which is last in the NFL.
I'm gonna pull a math, you guys, on you real quick. I do think there's a situation where we had Greg Roman's scheme the past 2 years, which he does about as little to make your offense as complicated as you can. And any passing down, the defensive linemen are like, we're going to get his ass. And
Free
the
for
defense
all.
can do every
Yeah.
single confusing thing. And Mike McDaniel, he comes from Kyle Shanahan. If we look at the Dolphins the last 4 years and the Niners the last 7 years, they notoriously don't invest a ton into the offensive line. So I think
Yeah.
it's a need, and I think they're going to address it. Maybe with their first round pick, maybe in free agency. They certainly have $83 million in cap space, but I do think compared to what some of the rhetoric is out there about the Chargers, they have needs elsewhere. Jesse Maynard just left. It's not like they can't go big on all three of these positions.
But they also have one of the largest cap spaces
It's
in this
true.
year's. And
83 million in cap space.
But you pay someone 23,
Well,
and that's
third in cap space, the Chargers.
I think that the Chargers are my favorite for Linderbaum
he's the center from the Ravens.
from the Ravens. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes so much sense, and
That'd be
it's
huge.
a good
Harbaugh tree.
destination. Yep.
Set a floor.
If they can't get him, I don't think it's likely. But was it Sumalo, the guard from the Steelers?
Yep, Isaac Seumalo.
Yep. I think that he is the next best option, but I think they have to spend money on one of those guys.
83 mil in pending free agents, Khalil Mack, Trey Pipkins at guard, Najee Harris, goodbye, Zion Johnson at guard, Trevor Penning. They traded for a 6th-round pick from the Saints.
So that's 3 linemen that saw snaps for them this year that are gone. So
Yep.
they either got to bring those, like they got to bring in some guys. I just don't
Yeah.
know how much of their asset percentage they can use on it.
Yeah.
Keenan
because-
Allen, Tyler Conklin, and Dafe Elway.
But like
Sorry.
going into our
Nope.
our points that we bring up frequently, it's like when you have Justin Herbert and you know that he is an all-star in this league, but he's just not getting the time that he needs
Yeah.
to be the quarterback that he can be. And so what does that just pay some people to block for him.
But is it pay people or is it develop a scheme that fits his abilities the most?
Obviously it's both.
McDaniel's got a sick
Obviously, it's
track
both.
record.
Because like when Tua was tearing the league up in 2022 and 2023, yeah, those years, I mean, his time to throw was like super short, and his average depth of target was downfield because McDaniel had this quick hitting scheme. You can get Lab McConkey going, a little bit of Rondé Gadsden. I could see a scenario where we're getting more point and fire Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And they don't need these longer lasting pockets because in this pass scheme, he's just, please get open Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson, please.
Like I'm whatever he can, but if they can like scheme guys open, manipulate the
Yeah.
linebackers, I just think there's a chance that McDaniel gets a little more say on offense and they do things a little differently than how they did with Greg Roman.
Yeah, but outside of O-line on offense, it's like Hampton looks like a stud. It doesn't
Agreed.
look like he needs to be a committee back. It looks like he can play rundowns and pass downs.
Yeah.
Vidal was good for them too.
But Vidal was good
Solid.
enough. Solid, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if Hampton went down, like, yeah, I would have no problem having him out there.
I do wonder, because it's McDaniel, if they want to bring in a cheap speed back for certain outside runs.
Maybe, but
Like if you want your backup to be a speedy guy because of how McDaniel sees the game.
but maybe that's just because he had a speedy guy in
no,
A-Chain.
he drafted like 3 speedy running backs in 3 years.
Mostert.
But is it him that's drafting him?
I think so. He got super skinny offensive linemen that can sprint, and he got skinny running backs.
I think McDaniel has a track record of overperforming with poor offensive lines.
Yeah.
The Dolphins had Teron Armstead and not a whole lot else, and he made chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah.
And it's a
Amen,
great
sir.
fit for the Chargers. McDaniel career-wise, as we talked about, I think it's
Yeah.
just an A-plus move.
Yeah, I think that I've been hearing a lot of buzz about how they need a true number one wide receiver, and I think that is kind of BS. I think that they have a wide receiver room comparable to the Packers, not in like a talent like position for position, like what you can do, just in a like Lad McConkey is great.
I think
Quentin
so.
Johnson is a quality
Quality. For what he does.
for what he does.
He's really athletic.
And Rondé Gaston showed you that he's not some late round draft
Yeah.
pick that is going to be just a floater. Like he can actually play.
They invested in Trey Harris.
Yeah.
I think he did enough his rookie year where you could hope he could keep growing.
Yeah. And I guess my point is if you can give Justin Herbert enough time, these guys aren't bums out wide.
Nope.
Herbert's arm is so dynamic that if you give him a little bit of time, it's just going to change everything for the offense,
Yeah.
given his ability to pick apart downfield stuff.
And McConkey, there's a world where we get Tyreek Hill light production out of McConkey next year
Yeah.
in the McDaniel scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, he could really go nuclear.
I have Hampton and Herbert in Dynasty.
Yeah.
And I'm actively trying to trade for McConkey
I
for
wanna
the
get-
ultimate stack.
Have you offered?
I have, yeah.
I would just like this week. I'm like, should I try to offer him for McConkey? But I don't know. Is it Newick who has him?
I forget. I sent Harvey in a fourth and no text back 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I feel like problem is once someone tries to offer, you look up like why would someone want McConkey? You get informed and you think, Matt McConkey is the best football player in the world.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, because then you realize he has value somewhere.
Yeah,
somebody wants
totally.
him. Yeah, how are you looking at defense?
Chargers on defense. They got Mack off the edge, who's aging quickly but has been great. 16th in PFF grade last year. Also impending free agent on the edge, Odafe Owe, 26th in PFF grade. Very solid last year. With Minter, their defense overachieved a lot given their talent level. Talent level is considered bottom 10 in the league. I'm very concerned about their defense going into this upcoming season with Minter leaving. It seems like the floor is, I don't know what they can
I
do.
think there was some chicken salad scenarios going on defense. And this guy has played under Minter, their current coordinator. Don't know his name. He's been with Minter at multiple stops, but we have no idea what he's going to be able to do. And unless they're getting some extra talent, extra zhuzh, I could see a bad year for the defense because you don't got a lot of stars out there.
Also drafted Tui Pelotu last year in the draft, and he was very solid for them at edge and came together pretty well down the stretch. So it seems like at edge they're probably set. I'd say
if they bring Mack or Owe back,
right,
which we'll see.
Yep,
I would say besides Tuli Pelotu, he's the only guy rostered. Edge is a problem. But if they bring back Khalil Mack, who is getting cheaper as he gets older, or Odafe Owe, who they just traded for, it could go okay.
Seems like their biggest need is in the defensive interior. That's what a lot of experts are mocking to them in the draft.
Yeah, they re-signed run defender Tyre Tart for $10 million or $15 million per year.
26 in PFF grade last year. A lot of defensive interior talent in this draft and edge talent if they want to go that direction. Wouldn't surprise me because Mac's old and Owe might be on his way out. Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, Caleb Banks from Florida, wide variety defensive interior talent this year. It seems like that helps set a floor as a defense. On linebacker, Troy Dye, Denzel Perryman, Dion Henley. Henley considered a universal dog, like loved by players and coaches alike in the league. Apparently the film was great on him. I think he was hurt last year. He was 50th in PFF grade. Linebacker could be a target, but they have too many needs otherwise for them to prioritize that early in the draft. Safety, Derwin James, certified dog.
Yeah, he plays nickel for them.
Dog. Matt was talking about earlier how in our previous episode about how valuable nickel defenders can be, guys who are versatile and like that. He's an all-pro, Pro Bowl level type player, going to be a cornerstone of the defense for years to come. At corner, they get much weaker. Dante Jackson, Benjamin St. Juste, who they got from the Commanders, who was great for them last year.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Yep. 11th in PFF grade. Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart. Lacking at corner, seems like a later round target for them. It seems like Harbaugh's a believer in building through the trenches. I would bet there's like an 80% chance they go offensive line or defensive line in the first round.
Yep.
Connor, you got anything else in the Chargers?
No, I think we touched on everything. I think that of the teams that we talked about, they are the closest so far. And so I guess it makes sense that we just touched on the big things.
Yeah. One more thing. Mekhi Becton, they can cut for $10 million. He had a really bad season. I think he's probably too big for what McDaniel wants to do. Can't move well enough. I think they'll probably save that $10 million.
Excellent point in the McDaniel fit in their scheme. The Denver Broncos, who won 14 games this year, excellent against the 30th ranked strengths of schedule. Keep in mind, might have overperformed in that respect. $28 million in cap space, 14th in the NFL. Impending free agents.
They finally got the Russell Wilson dead money off.
Which we don't talk enough about how they made that massive trade for Wilson. It was a disaster with dead cap.
Yep.
And then it just all worked out despite that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in my coaching take. Sean Payton and Bo Nix.
Great point.
Even with they lost draft picks, they lost cap space. But Sean Payton found a way, which, I mean, they did a crazy good job. And Vance Joseph.
Just impressive. Impending free agents, John Franklin Myers at edge, Alex Singleton in the middle, who people thought was kind of underperformed for them this year, a little bit slower.
72 PFF. Seemed decent.
Great secondary. A widely considered target for them in the draft, that linebacker is C.J. Allen, a versatile elite player who was great while he was healthy at Georgia. Great at running downhill, a little bit smaller, but an instinctive, high IQ football player.
They had 3 linebackers with decent grades this year, but both Singleton and Justin Strnad are free agents. And they don't have a ton of money to just keep throwing at more linebackers.
Dobbins hurt again for the millionth year in a row, halfway through the season. He was great for them to start the year. Harvey, despite them spending the late second on him, I mean, I own him in Dynasty. I'd like to say that he's great. He doesn't present himself as a take over the game, lead back. We just feed this guy 20 times a game.
No, I talk about it a lot. I don't know what they saw in Harvey. Even if you go back to the pre-draft process, I don't care how much you like this guy in terms of his head, but his physical traits just weren't there, and he didn't have the film at all to justify a late second rounder.
He's also 25, and they, like you said, they way overdrafted him for consensus for a very old player who was supposed to come in and be good right away.
Yeah, I think they wanted him to succeed more in the passing game, and we saw some of that, but he's not like a field changer because of it.
Yeah, and people are talking about how like J.K. Dobbins, he's washing out of the league. He's getting old. He's 1 year older than this guy.
I know.
He's 1 year older than R.J. Harvey.
3 season-ending injuries. I'm so surprised he even came back because I remember there was videos out there. He tore his Achilles, and then Aaron Rodgers did right around the same time. So there's videos of them rehabbing together.
Yeah.
And they were like different teams. I was like,
I remember watching the Pat McAfee show and Rodgers on there and him being like, and J.K. Dobbins would come in and be like, this guy don't care what he's telling you. He ain't doing anything in this room. He's just on his phone.
Yeah, I'm going to work. Yeah, that was sick.
Broncos secondary elite. They lost pass game coordinator Jim Leonard to be the DC for the Bills. Who knows if that loses an edge for them. Vance Joseph is considered a head coaching candidate. Been very solid for them. They just drafted Jahdae Barron.
That's huge for their championship pursuit that they still have Vance Joseph going forward.
I'm glad you brought up Jahdae Barron because that was one of the big things that I had is that their secondary was like arguably one of the best in the entire league.
Totally.
And their first round draft pick saw 3 snaps in that AFC Championship game.
Jaquan McMillan, the slot corner, which is what you'd expect Jahdae Barron to be. He had an 81 PFF score this year. He had a great season. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
So are they willing to risk it to trust Jahdae Barron? They drafted him in the first round. Or are they going to spend some of their money to keep Jaquan?
Yeah.
I think they're going to just go in with Jahdae Barron because you can't draft a guy that high 1 year and then pay a guy over him.
But I think that's like a huge lesson in like sustainable franchises. Is that a lot of people draft prospects because they want them to fill a need for the future. They fill needs that are immediate in free agency.
Yeah.
Like Luka with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, didn't need him, just thought he was a great player.
I hear this take a lot.
Yeah.
I tend to disagree with it because you have to have it's a luxury to not have a hole to fill. Like they did not use their first round pick on a spot that they really needed because there were no spots they really needed. So it's easy to attribute like, oh man, they're so smart. They drafted a cornerback they don't need.
Yeah.
What if they had like 0 tight ends that could play football this year? People would be like, hey, good job you had that extra cornerback though, but we don't have a functioning tight end.
Well, I think you see it a lot with offensive line. But that's a different though because you have to pay a lot to get a free agent offensive lineman, and a lot of them are in house.
Yeah.
But it's like when you draft an offensive lineman and you see it, your team drafted him, you're like, oh, this guy is going to fill this hole. In reality, he's going to be learning the scheme, getting the chemistry, and he's not going to be the guy.
I agree with you on offensive like that. The ideology does work for offensive line. Where you want the depth. Guys can play tackle. Some guys can play 4 spots.
Yeah.
So the depth makes more sense. But like a nickel, are we really going to say the Broncos are so amazing because like we thought they could have drafted Omarion Hampton there? Did he go 1 pick before the Broncos maybe to the Chargers in last year's draft? I forget how that order worked.
Yeah.
The Broncos could have maybe used Omarion Hampton this year if that worked out over, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. I will say that it is a luxury. It's not like me being like the Raiders are so stupid they drafted for an immediate need. They didn't buy it in free agency. It's okay. I hear you. I had a fraudulent take.
It goes both ways.
Sean Payton, in an interview after eliminated from the playoffs, said, quote, about Bo Nix, I don't have the quote exactly.
His backpack.
Basically that if he had known that Bo Nix, first of all, that Bo Nix, given his history, like injury history with ankles, ankle injury was, quote, inevitable. And that if he had known about Bo Nix's injury history, more about his injury history before I got there to the Broncos, that he wouldn't have drafted him.
Didn't Bo Nix respond to that?
And Bo Nix came out and was like,
did he say we wouldn't have drafted him?
yes, that's what he said.
I want to find this clip.
You talk about him for a little bit. Keep going with the rest of the roster.
Dude, all I'm saying is I am not that big on Sean Payton. I've always been like, outside the whole headhunting thing, whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
do whatever you need to do. I don't really give a shit.
What's wrong with a couple bounties? You know,
I just
giving
don't
some
like
guys some concussions.
this guy's vibe. Not in on it.
No, he's into himself.
Yeah.
I think evidently he is a good coach.
Yeah.
But like when you watch their offense, you don't see like this high level manipulation where things are going crazy well. I think it's because he like doesn't do it aesthetically how I like to see it.
Yeah.
But what he did with this Broncos team, with Russell Wilson and the dead cap, and they lost the trade. And I mean, part of it is Vance Joseph. Their defense is better than their offense. Maybe he just got lucky with these picks.
Yeah.
And I can't give it all credit to him. But what he's done in his coaching career, it's hard to take away. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
In January 2026, after QB Bo Nix suffered a season-ending injury, Payton told reporters jokingly that if he had known about the quarterback's history of past ankle injuries, quote, I wouldn't have drafted you.
I guess I need to hear the intonation. I think I did hear the clip, and it didn't shock me at the time, so maybe it does come across more sarcastically.
Did you find Bo Nix's response to that?
Working on it. Keep going, fellas.
The Bo Nix response was something along the lines of,
I hate you.
Sean Payton didn't know that like he shouldn't be commenting about my injuries. Like he was pretty straight to the camera, like defending his right.
Bo Nix, quote, I don't think he should share how many surgeries I've had. He doesn't even really know that.
Boom. So Sean Payton is kind of an ass. That's how he comes across.
Well, yeah, there was a thing that he like out of nowhere just made a comment on Russell Wilson and how he sucked, and then Russell Wilson, when he was in New York, obviously, was like, I didn't know we were still headhunting, dude.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Like he decided, like Sean Payton for no reason, like just disses Russell Wilson after the game.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were still allowed headhunting. Oh!
Yeah.
Payton, widely considered an asshole by everyone in the league. There's the LaFleur, Shanahan, McVay tree notoriously hates him. They have like a vendetta against him. They really didn't like a lot of the comments he made about Nate Hackett and how he was the worst coaching job of all time.
So unnecessary.
Payton, considered widely to be an asshole, obviously a fantastic coach. Running back, we talked about them.
Clear need at tight end. I think it's pretty clear that they need to find a tight end one.
Yep, they're losing both Adam Troutman. Evan Engram is still there, but he's getting older, and he was just fine this year.
Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq has mocked them a lot in mocks. I think if Sadiq falls to the Broncos, they'll take him without even thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
He would fit in great as a schemed-up guy in Payton's scheme. It seems
Is Kenyon Sadiq the next Joker in Sean Payton's offense? The Joker role.
Ooh.
I hate that. The other thing I have is that they could use a field-stretching wide receiver. Because I don't want to say wide receiver one because Cortland Sutton is a wide receiver one. I hate people that say he's not.
1.37.
He's an X.
But the one thing they are lacking in that offense is a field stretcher. And I think is Mims on contract still?
Yeah, he's maybe going into his fourth year now.
Yeah.
He's really fast.
Yeah.
I don't think he has quite developed to the level of player they want.
He's not a downfield winner. But
and also Troy Franklin is also really fast.
Troy Franklin's big. He's 6'3". He's got nice speed. They have a lot of really nice receiving talent there that's young. Lil Jordan Humphrey, the sickest name of all time.
They have a lot of wide receiver threes, but they could use another two or one.
A guy mocked them a lot. It feels like they'd use a scheme-up speed guy downfield.
Troy Franklin
Mickey
is
Mouse
6'3",
touches.
180.
Yeah, big guy.
That's very
Big
light.
dog.
Thin.
I'm 6'4", 225. So I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's really small.
Nah, dude.
Casey Concepcion has mocked them a lot in drafts as a versatile
Oh, yeah.
get him touches guy.
I could see that.
It seems like what makes sense to them most is either linebacker, a guy like C.J. Allen. They're really set at O-line, as we'll touch on here, or if they can get Sadiq or a nice wide receiver. At the
Or
back end of the first
you
round.
just wait for the board to fall and take the best available.
I could see
they
that.
don't have that many needs.
like they did it with Barron.
Yeah.
I think, linebacker or tight end or receiver are like the kind of.
Well, there are some linebackers in the free agent class, and it's a popular destination. It's not like you have to convince someone to go through a rebuild.
If they take another defensive lineman or offensive line depth, I wouldn't be shocked.
No. Offensive line was first in PFF grade this year, an all-time
Monsters.
great season. They were the Eagles from last year. One thing to keep in mind is there's a statistical consistency that we have a very hard time predicting how good offensive lines are going to be year to year. It's very hard to keep, like we talked about in our previous episode, offensive line is about having cohesion as a unit and be able to work together as a unit of 5 guys. The Broncos were really healthy this year.
Totally.
Garrett Bowles was an all-pro and a
Quinn
Pro
Miners
Bowler.
was an all-pro.
Miners is an all-pro. Really good offensive line. You can't really count on that year to year in terms of that. Them, once again, with the first-place schedule next year, I would guess they're going to struggle more in terms of offensive line talent. Also, another thing with the Broncos, they won a bunch of one-score games this year, and they consistently won close games. I'd be shocked if they got up to 13 wins again next year, given how limited Knicks is.
Well, okay, I'll say this. During the Super Bowl, the only thing I was thinking was this game would be so much better if Bo Nix just didn't get hurt.
No question. That it would have made more sense if it was Seahawks, Broncos, 2 great defenses, and it just would have made way more sense.
Yeah.
I agree.
The script didn't really work out. They didn't know about Bo Nix's foot injuries.
That was
and
the
how it was
last play of the
inevitable.
game. I just cannot imagine being a Broncos fan
Yeah.
and seeing that
brutal.
next game where you just lost by like 3
Yeah.
and that one Jarrett Stidham pass.
Oh, man. But I don't know. Speaking of sad things, you guys should like and subscribe to this podcast.
I thought sad things. This is the end of the episode. There's no more episode now.
Aw. If you want to see more of episodes like this isn't the last one. There will be more.
Could be the last one. I might get fucking mad. I might fucking hurt these guys.
We will be breaking down your team and averagely summarizing things that are happening. Probably not quite as good as you are. So tune in more for that type of content.
If you want to see fraudulent takes, tune in.
We love you. Goodbye.